Hi, I'm Kay Wright from Economic Development, and you're listening to the Rochester Post podcast with Matt Wyatt.
Hey Kay, how you doing?
Good. Nervous.
Good. You nervous to be on the podcast?
Always.
You should be, because I'm going to ask a lot of personal questions.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah. So tell us what your title is, and because you mentioned that you're from Economic Development, tell us what your title is and just a little bit about that position.
Okay. So my title is kind of a tongue twister.
Yeah.
It's Community Development Coordinator. So really what I do is I mostly work on the Community Development Block Grant, which also, again, tongue twister.
Mm-hmm.
We like to shorten it to CDBG. Everybody has difficulties with that.
Which was that legendary club in New York that all those, right? The Ramones got their start there?
I think so. Yeah, I think you might be right there.
CBGBs, right?
Exactly.
Is what I always want to call it.
Oh, trust me.
It's bad.
I've been in this position almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in July, and I still get tripped up on it. The first time I got it right, I was like, yes, I got it right.
So Community Development Block Grant.
Correct.
I got it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So everybody likes to call it the CDBG grant, which is, I think, kind of redundant, but it happens with so much out there. But really what it is that particular grant is money that Rochester gets from HUD, Housing, Urban, and Development, which is a department of the federal government. We are what is called an entitlement community, so we're actually one of 5 in New Hampshire. New Hampshire has very few entitlement communities. I mean, if you go to Massachusetts or Connecticut, there are like 20 plus.
What is an entitlement community?
So an entitlement community means that we are guaranteed funding each year. So with CDBG funding, both states and cities will get funding. So the state of New Hampshire gets their own pool of money, and then your entitlement communities get their own. So a couple of the other ones actually nearby are Portsmouth and Dover. They're also entitlement communities. So they get their own little pool of money. I say little. They get a lot more than us. But they get a good amount of money. And then with the state, they get, a few $1 million. Now, the state funding, unfortunately, because we're an entitlement community, we're not eligible to apply for funding at the state level because we get our own funding.
Right.
So it's kind of like they don't want us to double dip.
Yeah,
exactly.
That makes sense.
But that doesn't mean that there aren't projects that happen within Rochester that aren't funded by that. 2 projects that come to mind that happened in the last couple of years are Champlain Place and then also the Gaffney Home. Both of those used multiple different funding pools.
Yeah.
But some of it came from CDBG funding that was awarded through CDFA, which is Community Development Finance Authority. And they handle a lot of the funding at the state level. So they handle a lot of the grant funding, funds that they get, whether it be CDBG grants. There's a couple other funding that they get from HUD that they utilize through that service. But as an entitlement community, we get a set amount of money each year. This year, for coming up in FY26, we actually got about $11,000 more than last year.
Wow.
Which I was not anticipating, just because the federal government had level funded everything. And we were even told, hey, just base it on level funding. So getting that little extra money was definitely, a positive for us this year.
Yeah, because it gets used for communities in the project, like CAP, who took over the Gaffney Home. And tell us a little bit about that project and why they would apply for this type of funding and how it could be used, I guess.
So with the Gaffney Home, that was actually a project that started right before I had started here. So
perfect. So you're off the hook.
Yeah. Right. But they did just wrap it up. We're actually working on closing that out right at this moment. I've been working with Stratford Regional Planning, who actually was their basically community development coordinator.
Okay.
So, they did all of the CDBG aspects of it. So the city was really just a pass-through entity. We were, the ones that would review
the process.
Yeah. And then they handled everything else. So with a project like the Gaffney Home, I mean, that was creating affordable housing for senior residents, which was something that is obviously desperately needed, in every community right now. And so for that, they applied for a couple different funding. They got donations. They had their own funds, all of that in order to renovate this beautiful.
It was a big effort. Yeah.
Big effort. I mean, it's beautiful old building to renovate it into multiple one, and I believe there might be one or two bedrooms in there for senior living. And I mean, we got to tour it a couple months ago. It's beautiful. They did such a great job. They tried to keep some of the architecture in there.
As much as you possibly can.
Exactly,
sure.
as much as they possibly could, while also, giving these seniors their own little space. They have kitchens, they have bathrooms, they have, a place to, put their beds, everything like that, everything that they might need without having these large spaces. And then they also have community areas within the building, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And Champlain Place did something very similar to that. They had a few more, but that was a brand new building. So a little bit more went into that. But they also did senior housing, which again, very important, something that we really need within our community. So that was just some of the funding that they got. They also got, grants from so many different places.
So that's basically CDBG,
you got
right?
it.
Yes.
Yep.
It's just could be one of those many avenues to help you accomplish one of those types of projects. So what are the types of projects that you're kind of looking to award some of these funding dollars to? So
to give you an idea, just some of the projects that we have coming up is we have Community Partners is in desperate need of updated bathrooms at their facility. They were, we had them come and meet with the Community Development Committee, which we have all of our applicants do each year.
Okay.
We have them come explain kind of what they need the funding for, and the Community Development Committee will go through and kind of, determine, is that something we want to fund this year? Is this not something we want to fund? Maybe that's going to be a next year project if they come back to us. Community Partners have bathrooms that are just, they're usable, but they're not great.
Sure.
And they told us that these probably should have been updated a while back. So that's something that's going to be done in order for residents and staff members alike to be able to use them. They're going to add ADA accessible, update those so that they're better ADA accessible than what they currently are. And then we have Community Action Partnership of Stratford County, or CAP.
You're right. All these acronyms.
It's the government.
Yeah, right.
Like that's
I know,
normal.
right. Yeah.
CAP does a weatherization program every year, and I'm sure people have seen them around. They come and they kind of go into low to moderate income, mostly low to moderate income homeowners' houses. They kind of go through and they do an audit. They check to see, what's going on here. Why do you need it weatherized?
Where are the problem areas?
Do you need new windows? Do you need new roof? Do you need a water heater? Do you need insulation in your house? There's so many things that they do. And some of the funds that they get are from the CDBG grant. So this coming up year, the Community Development Committee, again, tongue twisters, they had allocated about $98,000, a little over that for FY26 out of the available funding from CDBG for next year's program. Now, that's more than they had initially asked for, and the reason why is just because, one, we didn't have a lot of projects that applied this year, and what we did is there was some leftover funding, and it was better for the committee to award those funds, especially to a project like that where they're going to utilize it.
Oh, sure.
They are going to.
It's going to have an impact in the community, and that's the whole point.
Exactly.
So to basically summarize this, it's because there's a lot of information, and I don't know how you keep track of all this, but
spreadsheets.
Yeah, right.
Spreadsheets.
Exactly. Try to figure out where am I today.
Yep.
But basically, nonprofits and groups like that will identify a need that can benefit the community if they had the funding to, say, fix it or whatever it might be, or implement it. And the city gets a set amount of funds that people can apply for to help with those projects. And then basically the process, just to summarize it boil it way down, is they would come into the Community Development Committee and basically express their need. And this committee is built up of all city councilors, so elected officials. And then they sort of determine the outcome and budget for all of these applicants, essentially. But you need people to apply for these funds in order to really have a good process.
Yeah. And there's different so we mainly talked about the public facility side of it. So
Sure.
that only makes up about 65% of the grant.
Okay.
So the grant is actually, there's capped amounts. So we have, the capped amount for administration and planning and all of that, and that goes towards part of my salary.
Sure.
So that is a 20% cap of your entitlement grant each year. And it is capped at 20%,
Yep.
So if you go lower, you go higher with what you get that year.
You're not getting a raise. Yeah.
Really
right.
is what it is. But there's also the public service agency portion of it, and that is going to be your nonprofits that offer services. So
Right.
you will get, groups like CAP who might apply for it, but then we do get agencies like Waypoint, that provides services to, I believe it's 12 to 24-year-olds.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in there.
Yep, and helps them. There's the beautiful drop-in center that received funding from
Yeah.
CDBG funds a few years back.
That's right.
And that's a great, great facility for young adults to go in and just have a safe place.
Yep. Somewhere to do homework, somewhere to do laundry if they need to,
Exactly, yeah.
grab a snack.
They
if,
have computers where they can go on and,
Yep.
apply for jobs or apply for housing
Yeah.
if they are looking for.
And there's people there to help them do
Yeah,
that too.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's just a small portion of it, but that's also unfortunately only capped, and I say unfortunately because there's always a need, but it's capped at 15% of the
Yeah,
grant. So,
right.
last year that was about $37,000. $37,000 among, like 10 applicants.
Right.
So we'd love to be able to give them more,
Sure.
but unfortunately, because it's capped, the committee, that is typically where the committee is, having their most discussions, because with the public facilities, we don't get as many applications, and there's a larger portion of the grant. So, normally it's kind of easy to be able to award
Yeah.
the funding that's required.
Yeah.
But with, public agencies, they don't always get what they're looking for. They normally get a small portion of what they're looking for, but they use it, and they use it to help people. I mean, we get Waypoint, Stratford Meals on Wheels, which also asks for funding every year, Haven, which, they're located in Portsmouth, but they have a location over in the community center, Crossroads House, which is a homeless shelter located in Portsmouth, but they do also take Rochester residents. A lot of people don't know that.
Which a lot of them don't do. They're limited to the area that they're in.
Exactly. Yeah. And in past years, we had groups like My Friend's Place. My Friend's Place made up a large portion of that funding. And I want to say last year or the year before, I think my first or second year here, the Community Development Committee decided that instead of funding it with CDBG funds, they were going to migrate it over to municipal funding. What that did is, one, it was because we have such a great relationship with them, and we felt that they really should be awarded, what they're kind of looking for or close to it. But then it also kind of freed up a little bit more funding, and we were able to kind of give a little bit more funding to these agencies that weren't getting them.
Well, you mentioned municipal funding too, because that's kind of the other half too of what this committee's doing, because other groups can apply for municipal funding that's not coming from the federal government, but from a pool of
Correct. Yeah. And those are going to be groups like My Friend's Place. CAP also applies for funding for predominantly their fuel assistance services, services like that they offer. But then we also have groups like Cornerstone VNA, Easter Seals, East Rochester Library receives funding.
It kind of changes every year.
It's a lot of them are very consistent. We have pretty much like the same group of agencies most of the time.
So they come in once a year basically to present new initiatives and ask for that kind of funding.
Yeah, tell us how they're doing, what they used the funding for the previous year. And this coming up year, kind of one of the goals we were looking at is we're going to have a lot more reporting from those agencies. Really just trying to make sure that what they're telling us at these meetings, they're also
carrying out. Yeah.
And so it's just going to be, kind of basic reporting to the community development this coming
accountability.
Yep, just making sure that, they are hitting their goals. And if they're not, what's going on? Is there something that was just an unforeseeable circumstance?
Are there new challenges?
Yep. We talk about inflation all the time. Things are
COVID. I mean, 5 years ago it threw everybody.
Exactly. So there's things like that. So that's part of what the Community Development Committee does, and I work with the Community Development Committee. So that's just kind of a lot of what I do on a
and those meetings are public, so anyone can attend and
Correct. And we are the second Thursday of every month. We don't have a June meeting scheduled, but we will have a July meeting scheduled. One of the goals too this year is we did this last summer, and I believe a little into fall, is the Community Development Committee really wants to meet with these agencies, kind of go and see what are they doing. You know, where are these facilities? What do the facilities look like? You know, they can sit there and they can talk to these people all day, but if they don't know what the facilities look like, if they don't know what the funds are going towards, it's kind of hard to make those decisions.
Yeah.
So knowing what these are going towards, meeting some of those people that might be there receiving some of these services, you know, not always. We don't always see those people, you know, but it's nice to see. We toured Waypoint last year. That was nice. We got to go to SOS Recovery, kind of see what they were doing as well.
And just see what the funding is being utilized for, which is kind of cool.
And really put faces to names too.
Yeah.
You know, we meet one or two of the people from the agencies, but I myself, I mean, the amount of times I've gone to them and be like, it's nice to finally put a face to a name.
From email,
yeah,
right.
Just constant email, phone calls.
Yeah.
You know, it's always nice to see them.
Yeah. Well, and you and I were talking, and part of our plan is to have some of these groups come onto the podcast to talk about how they're utilizing some of those funds, whether through CDBG, or I'm going to edit that out. No one will ever know that I even screwed it up, you know?
Exactly.
Or the municipal funding side, to come in and kind of just talk about like, hey, like, here's how we're using these dollars to impact the community and people that are around us every day.
And just get more information. I mean, there can be so many, you know, misconceptions of what some of these groups do. And, you know, there's always going to be that.
Well, like Waypoint, you might drive by Waypoint and not really know, like, they have a really colorful mural that I love on the back of their building, but like, it, you know, the building is a gray building and it has their logo on it, but it's not like it says teen drop-in center, you know, for so-and-so, this age to this age. Like, so if you were to drive by it, you would think, oh, office building, or, you know, some small company, maybe they do heating, plumbing services, who knows. And maybe part of that is because they want that sort of anonymous sort of feel, so young people can just kind of walk in and not feel any sort of stigma. Yeah. But you know, average community members that drive by, or our elected officials that might be making decisions about funding or whatever it might be, or say you're a voter and you're concerned about where that money's going towards, it is kind of nice to know, who are the players? What do they do there? What don't they do? Because Facebook tells me this, but they're here doing this, this, and this. So I think it would be kind of fun to have them come on and talk a little bit about how that funding is utilized in their organization, and what their future plans might be, what their roadmap looks like, and what they might be coming back for.
Do they have volunteer opportunities? I know so many people are, you know, want to help out in the community, you know, and that might be something that they can do. Yeah. So I mean, that's definitely a goal of mine, is really to kind of highlight what so many of these agencies do and how they benefit, you know, our community. Because it may be a small group that they're benefiting, but that's still our community. You know, that's still a part. Those are your neighbors. Those are your friends, your family, your kids, you know, your nieces, nephews. These are part of your community. And what they do, they offer so much. And I think it's important to shine that spotlight on them and show, like, hey, look at what they have to offer.
Well, I'm all about getting people on this podcast too, because Waypoint's a great example. I don't want to pick on them too much, but you know, they have a great program, but they also do events that raise money, that get people, you know, engaged and involved. Like they do a sleep out once a year. You know, so there's all kinds of things that they have going on throughout the year that they can also tell us about too. Yeah. Not just like, oh, we needed new bathrooms, but here's all the things that we're doing throughout the year that benefit all these people. Exactly. That also need new bathrooms, you know, or whatever it might be. You know?
And I think it's an opportunity to get that information out in another format, because you know, there's only so much that written, you know, throwing up posters or putting it on our Facebook page, you know, there's only so much. But podcasts, you know, radio, all of that.
Out there.
I'm constantly listening to podcasts and, you know, radio and all of that.
In the car.
All the time. So
I put it on and I just, you know, tune into a new conversation.
Doing dishes, like, you know, doing my little crochet that I do on the side, you know, things like that, you know. Just listening to, I think it's an opportunity to just get more information out there.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. So what are you looking forward to in the next few months? What are you guys working on the Community Development Committee?
Right now, there is the 5-year consolidated plan, which has been most of what I've been doing over the last few months. It's the 5-year plan that we base our yearly plans off of. So you might have seen me at City Council presenting information from time to time. Nervous as all can be.
You do fine. Like, it doesn't even come. Yeah.
Thank you. But one of those things is you'll see me go up every year and talk about our annual action plan. Well, right now we have our consolidated plan, which also includes our first year action plan. Mm-hmm. And our annual action plans are just what are we going to use the funding for that year? You know,
Sure.
What are our goals? What are our plans? What is the information we've been provided by these agencies? You know, how many people are they going to help? We're going to be reporting that.
For transparency,
exactly.
basically. Yeah.
So, and that's something that we have to submit to HUD every year. Mm-hmm. And the consolidated plan is a 5-year plan. So this is a lot more dense. It's a pretty long report.
Yeah.
So it's been months of just research, you know, verifying information,
Yeah.
you know, just seeing what is our ultimate goal. Mm-hmm. And so right now we have a 30-day public comment period that is open, and that is going to be open until June 30th.
Okay.
I had to think about how many days
You're
it
right.
was.
What month is it? Yeah.
Yep. June 30th. And so what that is that is an opportunity for the community to go online and review. So I'm going to be updating a couple other things. Right now there's a draft on there. Unfortunately, like all technology, certain things don't always upload properly. So there's going to be a couple things tweaked here and there over the next month, just adding some things that might be coming up, you know, that we didn't think about when I was adding
Some
it.
changes,
Just,
yeah.
you know, some grammar,
Yeah,
for you to be honest.
Semicolons.
You know,
yeah.
things here
So
and
check
there.
back frequently, basically.
Yeah, and that can be found on the Community Development Division page. Mm-hmm. So that if you go onto the Economic Development page of the city website, you'll see in the green section with all of those links, you should see the Community Development Division. And from there, you can go to the action plans. So what I do every year is we have our action plan. We also have our CAPER, which is our Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation
These
Report.
acronyms.
Trust me, you prefer acronyms when you have those long names.
You know what? This podcast description, when I put it out, it's all going to be acronym.
That's fair.
And only you and I are going to know what it is.
You know what? It's the mystery of it.
You have to listen to find out.
Exactly. But, you know, I put those up every year. So the CAPER is what we did the prior year, and that's due in September.
Okay.
So, and we have a public hearing for that as well. So we have a public hearing on June 17th for our 5-year consolidated plan and annual action plan. So technically we have 2 public hearings, but it's really one. Mm-hmm. You know, they're on the same day. The one is for the 5-year plan, but the annual action plan is included in that when we submit it. And so if you want to go online and you want to review it and just, you know, you can reach out if you have a question or concern, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
I am happy to answer what I can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if I don't know the answer, I like to
We'll
say
find out.
I love to research.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah,
Right.
I will find out the answer for you.
Because you want all this information ahead of time and to review these documents,
Mm-hmm.
because these public hearings are an opportunity to speak up and have some say in what this might be.
Correct, and that is actually a really important part of the consolidated plan.
The
We call it
feedback,
the citizens participation plan. That is a part. We are required by HUD to do this. We are required to have public hearings. You know, we're only supposed to have 2 a year, and we actually have 3.
Yeah.
We normally have 3. We have 1 for our CAPER. We have 2 for our action plan or con plan, depending.
Well,
on
how do you
what
make a
it is.
decision without proper
input
from the community?
Yeah, and if there's, you know, people are more than welcome to come to our community development committee meetings, and especially in the beginning of the year when we are meeting with these agencies. You're more than welcome to come and listen to what these, you know, folks have to say and what they're looking to do. You're more than willing to please email us.
Yeah.
Email your counselors too if you have questions about this. Please send that information over to them. You know, the community development committee is
Open and ready.
to receiving these questions and concerns.
Good.
You know, and again, if you're not sure who your counselor is, you can find that on the city website. You can also just reach out to me directly. You know, if you have a question specifically about CDBG or, you know, municipal funding or anything like that we handle, I'm more than happy to try and answer those questions, you know.
Well, that was going to be kind of my last question is how do we reach out to you if we want more information, or how do we get involved?
Feel free to email me, give me a call. You know, you can find my information on economic development. I mean, stop by.
Yeah.
I consider myself a friendly person.
Open door policy, right in the annex.
Yeah, I'm right up in economic development. I'm all the way at the end. You can ask for Kay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have conversations with people, as long as I'm not in a meeting.
Yeah, right, yeah. But to answer general questions and try to point them in the right direction or give them more information about the organization they might be curious about, it's super helpful.
Exactly. If there's like a particular organization that they heard about that they're like, how do I reach out to them?
Yeah.
Feel free to contact me. If I don't have the answer right then and there, I can at least reach out to them and say, hey, who do we reach out about this? Yeah. I'm happy to help.
Well, Kay, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and I look forward to doing more podcasts as part of the series where we get some of these groups on here to talk about what they're using this funding for.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.